two ninjas spoiling movies. Yeah. And Brandon Collins. That's me. It's just a brand for your movie needs. Medium popcorn. Woo! Haven't seen it, well, we're gonna spoil it. Who's the master? Well, that's your warning. And if you get pissed, it's all your fault. Ooh, 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 ooh.
What is up, little biscuits and sun-dried tomatoes? It's your boy Eddie Collins,
And guys, this is Justin Brown.
and we are Media and Popcorn. But you already knew that because you pushed play when you saw our beautiful faces and after hearing that amazing theme song. And today we have a special guest, Christian Zilko, who is a Los Angeles-based weekend editor for Indiewire and also a Michigan native, which I did not know when I met Christian. Did we talk about this?
I don't think we did. No, you a Michigan guy?
Yeah, I'm from Ann Arbor. That's
Oh,
crazy.
right on, man. My brother goes to U of M. I'm in Ann Arbor all the time.
Okay, but where in Michigan are you from?
I grew up suburban Detroit, Bloomfield Hills area.
Okay. Got it. All right. So yeah, like look at us, Michiganders. We had the opportunity to meet at South by Southwest at some whiskey tasting event, which unfortunately I was not able to invite anyone else from Media and Popcorn, or at least that's what I'm telling them. And got pretty wasted. I mean, I wasn't wasted, but like I got buzzed at like
It was like 3 in the afternoon. Yeah, on our first day there. Got the festival started off right.
Oh yeah. And they were talking to us about the whiskeys, and I'm just like in my head, I'm like, I just want to drink it. Like I don't care about the barrels.
What whiskey brand was this for?
Wild
It was
Turkey,
Wild
right?
Turkey. Yeah.
Oh, all right. So they were really trying to put you guys under.
They were going heavy too. Like they did a lot of promo that weekend. They had like a lot of free drinks, especially like in the press and talent space by like the stadium, by the arena or whatever. They were like doing like those cocktails and stuff. They had a good presence.
Yeah, Brand, did you ever try that smoked old fashioned that they were hyping up
I
so much in that
did.
tasting? Yeah,
I
yeah,
did. I'm
good
trying to get
stuff
that
with
for
the cola syrup.
Yeah, I'm trying to get that for a show out here in New York. That was fantastic. Justin doesn't drink, so he wasn't able to
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
give it a shot. But did you get to try it? And how was the rest of your South by Southwest experience?
Honestly, it was phenomenal. I tried that. I saw a ton of movies, some really interesting panels, reviewed a lot of stuff for IndieWire. It was my first time there. Just phenomenal festival.
No,
Nice. What was your favorite film that you saw at the festival?
Well, I guess I'll give two answers because I think I saw the TV Glow was my favorite thing I saw there when it was my first time seeing it. But that movie premiered at Sundance, so I don't know if we'll call it a South by Southwest movie, but loved that. And then honestly, I adored Y2K. Maybe it was like the late night screening of that, but I thought that movie was a blast.
Okay, yeah, I talked about that on our South by Southwest recap. I'm like, it's gonna probably be a hit depending on like what kind of distribution they get because of the nostalgia. It's really quirky with Kyle Mooney and everything like that. But yeah,
Very
it's awesome
Mooney.
it's very Kyle Mooney. Okay, and then like, how long were you at the festival for? Were you there for a few days? Were you there for the whole thing?
No, I was just there for like the first 5 days or so, and we were joking. I
Okay.
got out like right before all the big premieres, so I like just missed the Fall Guy, just missed Monkey
Yeah.
Man, just missed some of the big stuff. I think we were talking at the bourbon tasting. We're like every year they either front load it or back load it, and you never know until after you booked your tickets. But saw a lot of stuff, met a lot of cool people, and it was a fun one.
Yep, the same as us. We were like, we're leaving right before the festival even gets going. Apparently, like that's crazy. But we live and we learn. We'll be there next year and be ready. But you're a writer for IndieWire and stuff like. So, what's that beat like? What's it like? You know, being an entertainment journalist, and especially nowadays when like the industry is in this weird, like there's things happening, but kind of everyone's doing nervous, and then
That's coming back.
yeah,
Yeah,
to accept.
no, it's fascinating. It just feels like, I mean, it's obviously a very chaotic time to be working in the industry, but I just love being at the ground floor of all the change as it's happening. So my new title, I'm a staff editor. I just got promoted off weekend editor about a month ago. So I'm a staff editor and I handle, oh, thank you, man. And I handle a bunch of different beats. So I write a decent amount of movie reviews. I do some profiles. I interview people for film and TV. So I'm sort of, we kind of joke, I'm like the utility player of IndieWire. I'm the sixth man that covers everything. I'm in criticism, I'm in film, I'm in TV, I'm in, reporting and management. So do a lot of different stuff, but every day is so different. You wake up and you never know what the big news story of today is. You never know what Paul Schrader posted on Facebook today that suddenly everyone's going to be mad about. And it's really just a blast. I love it.
Nice. And then you're also LA based, so you are treated a lot better as a film critic than we are out here in New York. It's getting better. It's getting better, but like I tell Justin all the time, like the screenings that they have for press in LA are way like more hospitable. Um, they're more enthusiastic than they are in New York for some reason. It's really weird.
Better run.
Yes, better organized and everything too. But like, what's the most recent film you got to get a sneak preview at? That maybe you can't like reveal your full take on it, but what's the most recent screening you went to?
Most recently, I did actually go see. I saw the TV Glow again last week to get some
Okay.
some details for my story. Yeah, just doing some hidden details. I've actually seen it 3 times now, but I went to like an
Wow.
A24 press screening of that. Just went to a premiere of The Sympathizer TV show a couple weeks before it premiered,
Oh, okay.
with
Yep.
Park Chan-wook and Robert Downey Jr. and everything, which is just fantastic. So little film, little TV. Now I'm kind of rolled up my sleeves, getting into the Cannes stuff, and like these next couple weeks, I'm just going to a lot of LA screenings of all the stuff that's shown at Cannes and Director's Fortnight, main competition. Just try to get my bearings of the festival before I try to cover it from the ground in LA.
Nice. I'll definitely want to like reach out to you like if you get to see Metropolis?
Megalopolis.
Megalopolis. Yeah. See, I don't even
I
know. Yeah.
cannot wait for Megalopolis. I truly, if it's great, if it's bad, I don't care. It's just going to be the most interesting film story of the year. Like talk about just a legend taking it the biggest swing of his life. I cannot wait.
It's so wild. I just finished watching. I was telling Justin last week. I've just finished watching The Offer, the show about the making of The Godfather. And Francis Ford Coppola, the actor that plays him is fantastic. But you just realize this guy is a psychopath. But he clearly has a vision and he wants to stick to it, even if it might kill him or you as the talent and everything. But also, random aside, I found out my wife has never seen The Godfather or The Godfather Part Two.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm kind of like, I don't know if you could do this podcast with us anymore. I don't know if I could have you on here anymore. That's crazy.
And bro, I feel your pain. My girlfriend despises The Godfather. She works in film. She's super cool,
Ooh.
but she thinks The Godfather is one of the worst movies ever made and refuses to watch part two. And I choose to look past it. She's got so many other great qualities, but it's a sticking point for sure.
Well, I have to thank your girlfriend for the best segue of all time because talking about bad movies, we are reviewing Old Dogs, and without spoiling our rating, folks, holy shit. The log line of Old Dogs is two friends and business partners find their lives turned upside down when strange circumstances lead them to be temporary guardians of 7-year-olds. Mind you, those two friends are played by John Travolta and Robin Williams.
Yeah.
This movie is cuckoo bananas.
Yes, it is.
I don't even know. Like, okay, Christian.
So,
yes,
hold on.
Justin. I'll let you go.
I just didn't say something. I when we got this movie to watch, and I was like, Old Dogs. For some reason in my head, I was thinking, okay, the dog play is going to be somewhere in here, especially depending on which movie poster you found for this. It says sit, stay, play, dad. And it's them sitting at a desk with a dog hanging over the shoulder and the two kids on the flanking them. I was really confused by what the hell was going on in this film immediately.
Well, yeah, that makes a lot of sense because this actually was supposed to be an R-rated movie, and it was edited down. It became a Disney movie. So, according to our producer Lluvia's trivia, the film was originally 107 minutes long, adult-oriented with an R rating, and originally going to be distributed through Disney's company Touchstone Pictures. After the test running went terribly, Disney decided to distribute the film through Walt Disney Pictures and aim it towards children, cutting 19 minutes and removing all adult jokes, which is batshit crazy. This is like in the vein of like did y'all ever see Jungle to Jungle with Tim Allen?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Which is very much an adult film, but they like market it as a kid movie for some reason. This is like that, but like even more disturbing because John Travolta is out of his goddamn. Well, they both are. Christian,
Also,
what? Yeah, please.
Yeah. Well, first of all, let me just say, everything you're saying is true. Test screenings were bad and they recut it to this. I've just been trying to wrap my mind around for the last couple of days. How bad could a test screening be where the movie that we just watched is an improvement? Where you see this and like, oh yeah, okay, they made it better. Okay, I just cannot imagine how this could have gone down or what could have been worse than this.
Do you think the talent knew? Like, because I don't think they did reshoots. I think they just edited the crap out of this. And so for me, I'm like, Matt Dillon pops up in this, Justin Long pops up in this. And like, do you think they were like, wait, it's a Disney movie now? Like, because Justin Long is cool. He's out of his goddamn mind that one scene.
Crazy.
Like for me, what's the funniest thing in the movie? Like
Yeah, no,
his
it's
scenes
insane.
made me laugh actually.
Yeah. No, there's probably I watched with my roommates and we were like counting how many passable jokes were in the movie, like jokes that even made you chuckle the tiniest bit. We got as high as 5. One person said there was 5. I think that's a little generous. I think maybe 2 or 3, but Justin had some good lines. That was a bit. But no, it's interesting, like Travolta particularly, because his entire character is based on how much he gets laid. Like the entire premise is that like 55-year-old John Travolta is just the biggest womanizer in New York City, and that with that incredibly dark hair that is clearly natural and clearly not a wig at all, that just women are constantly falling over themselves to come to his bachelor pad. And he literally I'm not trying to get ahead of ourselves, but he tells Robin that I can't, I'm not gonna be able to help with the kid because I think I'm just gonna be fucking too much. And then this movie gets cut into a Disney movie. Like I don't know how you possibly make a kids movie out of that. They didn't. They made nonsense out of that.
Well, yeah, I mean, John Travolta. First of all, I'm glad you brought up the age, Christian, because I wrote down how old is everyone supposed to be? Because Kelly Preston's over here apparently hooking up with Robin Williams, and they end up having twins. And then we jump to 7 years later. She's about to go to prison. That's a whole other thing we'll get to. But I was just like, wait, how old are they supposed to be? And we're not even going to talk about that. There had to be jokes about that. Like more like adult themed jokes about, old sperm and like old people having kids. There had to be.
Oh, yeah. There's at least like 5 Viagra jokes that are on the cutting room floor that we're never going to see.
100%.
For sure.
Can we also just mention the fact that it's bad enough that this man had to leave this earth? I'm not talking about Robin Williams. I'm talking about Bernie Mac. But this was his actual last film that he appeared. This is Bernie Mac's last time on screen. It's Old Dogs. Now, Brandon and I, we reviewed Soul Men with him and
Samuel Jackson.
That movie was crazy enough. but this is something completely different. I wish I never saw this. I'm not gonna lie. This tainted Bernie Mac for me. He looked like somebody's auntie in this film. He looked nuts.
I mean, everyone looked kind of crazy. I mean, Luis Guzman is over here eating dog treats for some reason. Also, I wrote down, we should start at the beginning.
With the premise of this film. Go on. I'll let you go.
Story. Because also Lori Loughlin's in this, and I wrote down, the college scandal and everything, but she looks great. She still looks amazing. I'm Becky. I'm never gonna not like her. But nothing came of that love story, by the way. I thought she was gonna end up with John Travolta, and nothing came of that.
Wait, who did he have a kid with at the end?
No one.
No, he does have a kid.
Wait, he has a kid at the end?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's the old dog who learned the new tricks after seeing what Robin did with his kids.
Yeah. When they're on the boat, he has a child.
Because they do that same thing where they say like 6 months later, and you think you're gonna get a whole epilogue scene, and the scene is like one line. It's like the fastest epilogue ever. They just get in and out of there so fast, probably because there's so many old sperm jokes in there. But it's literally just the one scene, but you see him with a kid.
Wait, so who's the mom? Do we not know?
Actually, I don't remember.
I think my eyes glazed over by the time we got to that epilogue. I'm sorry. Like I was just
fair.
I had no idea what was going on. First of all, so these two guys, what are they? They're businessmen, but what do they're a marketing team.
They do sports marketing.
Sports marketing, apparently. Okay. And Robin Williams got divorced, and then he immediately eloped with this woman named Vicky, who's played by Kelly Preston. After like his best friend Charlie, John Travolta, took him to let loose and stuff. In the most chaotically edited montage party scene I've ever seen in my life. Very coherent. Robin Williams at one point gets a tattoo on his chest that's supposed to be say free man, but says Fremont. Either one would have been problematic, to be honest with you. But who's with Kelly Preston. Also, what's her name? Tom Hanks' wife is in this. Rita Wilson's in this, doing cross eyes for the whole movie. What was up with that? Her eyes were like crazy. I'm like, what's going on, everybody?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you can't fault anyone for trying to avert their gaze from anything on the screen in this. If she was trying to look away from Travolta's wig, then, that's good on her.
Hold on. The mother is Lori Loughlin.
See, that's what I thought.
Wait, okay, so when did they hook up then? When the dog died?
No, you remember they went to that he went to the I guess the grieving thing that she was doing bereavement
Oh yeah.
thing.
Can we just
And
talk about how insane that was? How so he is hitting on Lori Loughlin at work. He's using the least smooth moves ever. The man has no game. He's got this horrible toupee, but she just falls for what he says about how much he loves kids, hook, line, and sinker. And then like the least convincing flirting sequence ever, she invites him to her beach house. And the thing at the beach house is like their post-funeral kegger. It's like a funeral party for that's insane behavior. As bad as Travolta is in this movie, you do a first date at a funeral after party, and then you serve the last pie that your dead grandma ever baked in her life, and then Travolta eats. Like, I just was like screaming at the TV, what are we watching here?
Well, and it's also just the fact it's like, in what world would you not prepare somebody for that?
Correct.
You know, it's like, hey, I'm having this thing at my house or at my beach house this weekend. Why don't you come by? Somebody that, hey, just know it's for like a bereavement group, and we are all getting together, such. Because if I was, I'd be like, what? Maybe
Are we surprised? Everyone in this movie has chaotic energy. No, everyone's terrible in this movie. John Travolta is a terrible friend. Robin Williams doesn't know which way is up. He can barely take care of himself to the point where he's like, I can't communicate with my children, so I need you to like literally control my body.
Oh
so
my
like I'm like
God.
crazy. On top of that, you got John Travolta flirting with the tan girl when Robin Williams is trying to impress Kelly Preston because they're seeing each other for the first time in years. He's like, I need to get a tan. She locks him in that room. He gets fucking blasted where he's wearing blackface basically afterwards. Like everyone's terrible in this movie. The kids are god awful. The kids, I would have left them at that camp. I would have been like, hey, I'm sorry, Kelly Preston, you're in prison, so you can't be mad at me. You messed up.
Well,
so,
no, also he broke the babysitter's hands, and she's a hand model. She's in hospital now.
That was so stupid. I hated every moment of that.
Can we talk about how awful Kelly Preston's character is too? Because she has these kids, she doesn't tell Robin about them for 7 years, and then she comes to him with this heartfelt speech of like, my son's never been in a men's bathroom before. He has no male role model in his life. He needs you. Well, he has no male role model because you've kept this a secret from Robin Williams for 7 years.
Yeah, it felt very Forrest Gumpy. Like it did not make me feel good. And the thing is with Robin Williams, like I'm like, okay, so Charlie is rich. We see him in that dual bachelor pad and everything like that, right? What is going on with Dan's finances? Because Dan, he can't afford to take them to a hotel or something like that, but then he can afford to hire Dax Shepard to childproof Charlie's apartment. Like I'm like, make it make sense, y'all.
That's available. I mean, maybe the divorce took half his assets, but apparently their firm is doing well. You know, they're on the cusp of closing the biggest deal of their career. And the three of us have already put more thought into this than the writers did. Like, there was just no attention paid to this
Unless
logic,
it was all there, but it just all was adult content for some reason. Like it was just a lot of swearing, maybe.
Content.
I don't know. It just, and then also it kept writing down, why is Seth Green in this?
Oh my God.
Like his character, they just kept shoehorning him in. And the folks, if you were watching the video, you can see I have the old dogs in my background. Not Seth Rogen, Seth Green's being coddled by a gorilla. And like, it's just insane. Like that scene comes towards the end, it makes no sense, and they just leave him there.
Yeah.
They just leave him with the gorilla.
I mean, as they should. I mean, can we talk about his karaoke addiction? How they closed this big deal with the Japanese businessmen, and they got to send a guy to move to Japan to be the company's liaison. So naturally, you send your best. You send Seth Green, and then it's never once acknowledged that he likes karaoke or whatever. He gets to Tokyo. On night one, he goes on a karaoke bender and like just disappears into the Japanese karaoke underworld for a month and is never seen again. And then they bring him back. And like, Robin Williams and John Travolta are going on missions together to try to, save their family. And they've got Seth Green in the back of the car. And they're like, you don't talk. You're on probation. Like, why do you even need him? If he's so bad that you can't stand him, why are you just letting him ride in the back seat? It's fucking asinine.
That's what I said.
Someone needs to stay in the monkey enclosure at the end of the film. And it's also the fact that I don't know if you guys realize they crawled through that tunnel and they never closed the door. So those gorillas could get out anytime they want.
Oh, is that what leads to Congo?
What's that?
Nothing. I mean, this movie, the only two things that made me laugh were, again, Justin Long's crazy obsession against Robin Williams. He's like, you
No,
remind me to
John
John
Travolta.
Travolta. Okay.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell who he was pointing at. That was a problem for me, but he made me laugh. And then Dax Shepard, when he says this line, this was funny when they talked about the poison spear that John Travolta had in his apartment. He's like, yeah, it's like 1,000-year old. And Dax Shepard's like, you bought this 1,000 years old, 1,000 years ago. You expect me to believe that? I actually did laugh. I did. I
That's a
think
good
that,
line.
like there were some moments where I was like, this could have been funny, but something got lost here. Like, imagine taking your kids to this, Justin.
No,
Your sons would hate you.
no, they would probably laugh at this because they're young and they're stupid. But for me,
Would a kid know what's going on though? We barely knew what was going on.
But for kids, it doesn't matter. It's all about the funny little gags and things like that. They'd probably think it was hilarious that Robin Williams was in blackface and everyone was looking at him crazy and things like that. But like for us, like we have to watch this and try to decipher where did I go wrong with my life and my day that here watching Old Dogs. What I think what's interesting about this film is I feel like Robin Williams was supposed to be the emotional kind of hook of this film, and John Travolta is supposed to be the comedy. Robin Williams, John Travolta is the comedy, and I think that's the thing which really made it even crazier, because Robin Williams tried to have those sweet moments with the kids. He's, because he's good at that. He was great at that. R.I.P. Obviously. But then you have John Travolta trying to be the comic relief, and nothing he did hit.
Well, I can see that. I will say he did make me laugh. And again, there's like these moments where I did chuckle or laugh, which is when the dog died. His dog died when he came back from the trip. Like after Robin Williams torpedoed it to be with his kids, which he never went straight to his kids, by the way. Like they meandered on that for a bit until anyways. Yeah. But he leaves that voicemail and he's like, yeah, just so you know, my dog died. I'm going to be having a memorial this day. I'm indifferent if you come. No. I thought that was funny. I was like, okay, that's. And then what did Seth Green say? It's like, truth is, I have a lot of problems. I'm a preemie. Like there was like little lines like that where I'm like, okay, this could have been funny if the whole movie was kind of like wackadoodle like this. But because of the kids and Kelly Preston's weird ass performance as Vicky, who again is going to prison for 20 days because she protested or something.
Yeah, like the premise of this movie is so convoluted. Like I was just trying to tell some people this week, said, "Oh, I'm going on a podcast." And, "Oh, what movie are you talking about?" And I kind of hang my head in shame, like Old Dogs. And I'm like, the things you're telling people, it takes you 10 minutes just to get through the premise of the movie. It's like there's nothing is remotely simple about this hook. It's like, okay, Robin Williams and John Travolta are friends. Cool. Okay, well, 5 years ago, Robin Williams got divorced. He went on a bender that happened 5 years before this movie started. He got married for 24 hours, got it annulled, knocked a girl up, has 7-year-old twins that he doesn't know about. His 24-hour ex-wife is going to jail for 20 days on some legal technicality, and then he wants to but he lives in an adult-only apartment, so he wants to take them to his buddy John Travolta's house, but John Travolta thinks he's going to be bringing too many chicks home, so we can't do it there. And like that's before the movie starts. Like there's just so much just to try to explain this premise to someone.
It's wild.
Mind you, like even then it's still nothing makes sense. Like you don't know which way is up and how this all came together, like how this all came to be, because the fact that, he wrote this email, the whole thing is Dan wrote this email to Vicky, and then she got the email. She was already going to go to prison. And then she's like, oh, wait, let me reconnect with Dan. And then she just pops up with these two kids who are fucking crazy. I've been like, did she homeschool them? Like, not saying there's anything wrong against homeschooling, but like, why are they so weird? Like, even if you don't, I grew up without a dad. Right. I'm not out of my goddamn mind where I'm thinking, my dad is a way of being a superhero and still believing that. These kids are like 8 years old.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
You know what kind of weird world you're living in? If you
like,
think your dad's a superhero and that's why he's not around?
But no, Brandon, because John Travolta helped Robin Williams unpack that. The fact is that she wants someone to be her hero. She wants a knight in shining armor. She wants a superhero, and that's why she keeps imagining him as these grand, outlandish things. Is because she deep inside she just yearns for a protector. That
Okay.
was
And
the
60-year-old Robin Williams is that protector.
Yeah,
So can we,
I felt bad. I was like, they're gonna be really old by the time these kids graduate high school. Like it ain't they're gonna have a rough 20. They're gonna have some rough 20s. They're gonna be losing a lot of important people in their lives. I'm sorry. That's just math. Also going back to Vicky real quick,
Oh
she
wow.
communicated nothing, right? She didn't communicate, like she wasn't like, all right, if the kids, because if I were in that situation and Dan legit doesn't have a place to live, like wouldn't he just like go back to her place? Wouldn't he be like, why don't I stay where you're living? So the kids have like some sense of consistency and stuff like that. Like, because that's a lot of change to throw at kids, even though they're already out of their minds. Like to be with a stranger, the babysitter's in the hospital now. Um,
Oh, this is
they're
your dad.
yeah,
You
and they're now also with like their dad's partner, John Travolta, who again is just a horn dog trying to fuck everything. And you're just
yeah, he's taking them rather than raising them in their own home, he's taking them to John Travolta's bang pad. There's no child that can thrive in an environment like that.
yeah, there's a lot of scenes that just didn't make any sense that felt Disney-esque, but it's just so like weird and like I just wrote this down. Like, who is this for? Because if Disney did edit it to be more child friendly, again, I just feel like a kid would just be watching adults talking. There's very few gags that actually are like, physical comedy besides Robin Williams when he gets controlled by was it John Travolta, and who's the dude that's working
Bernie
with
Mac
him?
and Bernie Mac.
Bernie Mac. Yeah. Like Justin,
Can we
you're
just
right. That
take
was
a
a terrible
moment to bask in how weird that scene is? That scene might be the strangest thing I've ever seen in cinema in my life. Because
Yes.
I'm just trying to think through the logic of it. So, like, Robin Williams is worried that he doesn't have the paternal instincts and that he's not ready to be a hands-on dad. So
Mhm.
the solution that him and Travolta, who we've learned is even less paternal than he is and even less responsible than he is, the solution that they come up with, the first thing on their mind, the first thing they try is go to a Chuck E. Cheese like knockoff, where in this universe, apparently the animatronics at Chuck E. Cheese are all controlled by real people in these cyborg suits who, when they move their limbs, the animals move, which that's its own separate problem. But they find the guy played by Bernie Mac who operates these things, and
His
they
name
truly
Jimmy
think
Lunchbox. Jimmy Lunchbox. That was his name, Jimmy Lunchbox. I just had to interject that because his name
I
was
somehow missed that. No, that's important facts. I appreciate that. And that they have Travolta put on the suit and do the gestures of being a parent, which Travolta would have had no opportunity to learn at any point in his horn dog life. And just Robin Williams does the motions. He's still not controlling his mind at all. He's still not controlling his words. He's not controlling anything that you would need to be a good dad. And like Robin Williams is just doing a tea party, and then Travolta's like doing the motions for him to drink the tea. And then it just makes no sense. You get the scene where like, oh, it short circuits, the suit's not working anymore. And then like Robin Williams figures out how to be a dad on his own. But that's exactly what he would have had to be doing before, because he still had to speak and think for
He was
himself.
already
Like,
doing that.
yeah.
yeah.
He
It's
was already
like they went
communicating.
through 2 drafts of the script, and like one of the draft was like that, John Travolta was speaking into an earpiece and this telling Robin what to say, and the other draft was Travolta was doing the motions, and like on the third draft they forgot which details came from which premise, and they just combined them in this thing. Just did not make sense at all.
Well,
And he's dressed all crazy,
Yeah,
like
he
with the prince outfit. But like to your point, Christian, he was already doing this stuff, already communicating with the daughter. All he had to do was pretend tea time. Anyone can do that, right?
Yes.
Like you just, oh, a little tea. Oh yes, little darling, you want some more? That's it. That's all you got to do. Instead, he's over here jiggering and jaggeting, and then like John Travolta and Bernie Mac are just like giggling like piglets in the other room. And I'm like, if Dan is this incompetent, where he can't communicate with like other human beings, how has he survived this long?
No. How is he in marketing and closing this? How can he talk to, like, how does he understand how humans communicate, especially through sports, which has a big cross section for kids, because sports, a lot of it is aimed at young children to get them into sports, which merchandise. How does he understand how to do that? See, but there's something that we missed in that entire scene, because there is a point where the girl says something and then they're like, you need to laugh. No, like laugh. You need to do it more. And then somehow John Travolta starts making him laugh maniacally. How?
Oh, right, because they got like the thing inside the suit that like touches him and like you know tickles it. That's fucking insane.
Why did that happen? Why did he need that?
If I had kids and I left them with a new guardian figure that they had never met until that week, and I found out that he had some robotic mechanism inside of his clothing to tickle himself, I would be calling child services.
Yeah, there's this. Yeah,
I ain't even thinking about it in that way.
yeah, that's really wild. Yep, that's not good. And then you just got like a giggling black man and white guy in a closet, just watching all this transpire. Yeah. There's so many problems with that scene now.
And
Oh,
also, while that's happening, the son is alone upstairs playing a video game.
and
We're
talking to the
talking
business
to
guys.
Japanese men online.
Yeah,
Like,
this house is
what
madness.
is going on?
And the moral of the scene is that this guy's such a good parent that he should give up his career in Japan for this. Like, this was a parenting win. This horrifying scene that we would shield our own kids from at all costs was the best case scenario.
And mind you, that kid also landed them the deal. He landed them the deal by talking just madness to these Japanese men, I don't know what, 10,000 miles away. And he's just like, yeah, that's right. Dump Nissan. Go with a robotics company, which I'm surprised that they didn't shoehorn Bernie Mac right back into it, because that makes sense. Robotics, this weird suit thing. I was like, I was waiting for it to happen.
So, fun fact from our producer Lluvia regarding the locations that this film was actually produced in. The majority of production, including most of the Tokyo scenes, except for the Tokyo airport and Tokyo street scenes, which were shot in New York City, were done in Connecticut, thanks to the 30% film TV tax incentive and the state offered at the time. There is no overseas location shot in the film.
Sounds about right.
They shot Tokyo and Connecticut. That is insane.
You could have written this movie without Japan. Like, if you didn't have the resources to get to Japan, you could have very easily, made this San Francisco or whatever and just still had, like, you didn't need to do that if you didn't have the resources.
Yep.
So can you imagine being a Connecticut taxpayer and finding out that like your money went to this?
And also, like, this is a family affair too, because the Travolta family is all up in this. Like, John Travolta's daughter plays the daughter. Kelly Preston, obviously, was his wife at the time. Rest in peace. It's just very, very odd. Like, I don't know how this movie got greenlit, even with the R rating and like adult content, because at the very beginning, that story that Charlie tells the Japanese businessmen, completely irrelevant to what they're pitching. It's just this weird story that makes Charlie look insane. It makes both of them look fucking nuts, but it makes Charlie look like he is a broken man that probably shouldn't be handling a multi-million-dollar account right now.
Well, no. It makes Dan seem like he's insane, but Charlie is just like, hey, I will co-sign anything to get the job done.
Oh yeah. Charlie was very much like you know who their dynamic reminded me of in a really weird way. Did y'all watch Ozark?
Yeah.
Christian, you watch Ozark? So the first episode with Jason Bateman, his business partner that gets in over his head because he's trying to make the money, and was like, that's that dynamic where John Travolta's eventually gonna get Robin Williams killed. He's gonna do something really shady. Like that whole time, I'm like, this is not good. Like Charlie's gonna get them to some real shit at some point. He's too eager.
Yeah, and just like think about what the pitch was to Travolta. Well, I mean, I don't know how many pitches Travolta was getting in 2008 or whenever he would have considered doing this. But like, your character is a like 50-year-old sexual deviant, like just wreaking terror on the women of New York City, constantly throwing your partner under the bus, collecting dangerous.
That would have been a movie. That's a fucking movie.
What on earth is he getting out of this besides a paycheck? And like you're right, his whole family was involved in this. Is there any chance they thought he was cool when he was doing this? Like, even if your dad is taking you to a movie set, you got to be embarrassed when you see like this is the set that you're going to.
Okay. I'm starting to see. So I'm looking up Travolta's filmography here. This came after Hairspray. So he went from Hairspray to Bolt to The Taking of Pelham 123, to Old Dogs, and then from here he went from Paris with Love. So
Yeah, that's when he started doing a lot of the direct to video stuff.
Yeah.
well,
I actually
Pelham 1 2 3. That that wasn't.
Yeah, but that's like after that it started going direct to video
Yeah.
stuff. But I actually went down a John Travolta rabbit hole after watching this as well, and I just was like, I mean, first of all, the guy's 70 years old, and he doesn't look bad for being 70. He's finally embraced the baldness, which is good.
Well, yes, now, yeah,
That's good. But he's had because I watched Carrie yesterday. That's why I went down a John Travolta thing, and he's had a hell of a run. Like he is the embodiment of like the Hollywood ups and downs in your career.
Oh, yeah.
Like he's that to a T, and I do think there's one more good role for him. I don't know if it's in Quentin's last movie, but I think he's got one more really good performance in him.
I completely agree.
OJ gave us a little peek at it, even though he was so fucking crazy at some points. But I do think, like, despite some of this crappy stuff that we got in the 2000s, especially, I think John Travolta, he was a star for a reason, especially in the 70s, like Saturday Night Fever, Grease. Like he's an icon in regards to the roles that he created, but obviously Old Dogs just wasn't it. But
I was also go down the Travolta rabbit hole. You guys ever watch? I assume you have. You're men of taste. You ever watch The Fanatic?
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
We reviewed it on the podcast. Yes. What were your thoughts,
my God.
Christian?
I just watched. I have never been so confused by a movie in my life. If I start talking Fanatic, we'll be on here for the rest of the night. But I have never been so offended or so confused. And then reading that he said it was like the role of his career that he treasured the most, and that the role was a tribute to his autistic son.
His son, right? Because his son was autistic, right?
Yeah. And the character of Moose was somehow an homage.
Yeah. We were very, like, we cringed that whole movie. Like we kind of saw what he was going for, but that movie, I mean, it's directed by Fred Durst, who's out of his goddamn mind. But yeah, like that was one of those movies where you're like, this could have been a cool concept, because Devin Sawa was in it too, right?
Yeah.
I'm a fan of his from the 90s and the horror films he did and stuff like that. But yeah, he was just too weird and too. I just was offended as well, and I felt bad because I did remember reading that he said that's a tribute to his son, and so maybe that is genuine, and maybe it was just poorly executed in that film. I don't know. But
I'm sorry, just to go back to the movie.
Which one?
No,
Fanatic or okay? Because I'm like, we're just going down to the John Travolta.
I know.
crazy movies, because there's so many.
No, because I just started thinking about the fact is that, Robin Williams lives in like an adult only, like I guess a seniors facility. So
is that what that was when he tried to pull up and like they had lights showing and like Amy Sudeikis was there? Like I was like, what is going on here?
Yeah, that whole weird thing.
I was like, is he a halfway house? Like, what is this? I wrote down, I was like, what is that scene? What? I think he just ran off with the kids.
Like, what's going on? So like that scene was so wild because like adult communities, you can have children visit you there. They just can't live. So like when that happened, I was just like, what the hell is going on right now? And of course, that's also like, it's New York City, right? This is New York City.
Yeah.
There are children all over New York City. Why do they act like they are living like on an island somewhere where kids don't exist? Like that's so nuts. That's so nuts.
Also, we've established that Travolta is the man about town. Travolta is the guy who's fucking 24/7. Why does he live in a building that allows children, but Robin Williams doesn't? It makes no sense at all. And they have that line. They even say it, like, Travolta's like, I talked you into moving to that adults-only building. Isn't it great? Like, if it's great, why don't you live there? They just needed a way to get them to Travolta's bachelor pad, and they just could not have picked a lazier writing mechanism to do that.
And mind you, they have jokes at their expense about their ages, because they have that one restaurant scene where they keep talking about being old and pissing yourself. Yeah. And I was like, they have Depends. Like, why are y'all proudly being like, oh, I piss myself all the time? I'm like, what kind of scene is this?
He's like, oh, no, I spill water. He's like, yeah, the water runs through me too. I'm just like, what is happening right now?
Now, I will say, this is gonna be a little bit TMI, but when I go to visit my grandfather in his mental, it's like assisted living facility. That's how it should be phrased. There are a lot of people that probably are like, I pissed myself. And you're like, okay, okay, that does happen. But these people seem of sound mind at that restaurant.
Yeah,
but what do I know?
This is a restaurant. This is
It's like, what is that? Cracker Barrel?
This isn't freaking bocce at the whatever the assisted living home. This is a restaurant. People are out. They're like, oh yeah, you here with your grandchildren? Guess what? I just shit my pants. Like that's not what.
The list of places where it is socially acceptable to talk about pissing and shitting yourself can be counted on one hand. It is the retirement home or like your urologist's office. Like anywhere else, just when in doubt, don't.
Can we talk about the Joker smiles?
Oh my! In the drug sequence.
That's when I was like, okay, so this movie is just completely off the rails at this point. But I just had no idea what was the purpose of that scene with Robin Williams tripping out, John Travolta, like, because the kids mix up their pills, which again, just crazy kids have no sense of boundaries. Like, it was like they were never house trained by Kelly Preston, which makes sense because she seemed to be a free spirit, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And then they're just both tripping out and being sick, but neither one's communicate. No one communicated with each other. Like, no one really was like, hey, I'm going through some shit, or like, this doesn't feel right.
Also, the way they wrote the scene just makes no sense. Like, it could like, okay, we want a drug scene, we want to show them tripping, but we're not going to show them like taking any illegal drugs. But when you think about this, they're only taking medicine that they were already prescribed, and they're taking the wrong thing. But this was all stuff that they were supposed to be taking at some point in the 7 days. And if you look at those pills, the props department made them very colorful. They're all very different colors. Like, a grown man could easily see which one is which and see if something is in the wrong place. Like, it just makes no sense at all. Like, there's no reason that taking the Tuesday pill on a Sunday is going to put you in this situation. And there's also no scenario where they didn't see what they were doing. It's just incomprehensible.
If you're a Japanese man and you run a business,
all great hypotheticals should start this way.
Okay.
And you run a very successful business in Japan, multi-billion-dollar business. Would you align yourselves with these two men after what you saw?
And Seth Green. Don't forget Seth Green with the karaoke edition.
The Seth Green thing, you can say it's like, hey, some guy went overseas and was acting
lost
like
his mind.
Okay, I'll give him that.
But he was crazy in the board meeting. Remember, he's like, you call me GT, go to. Like, he was already nuts.
Yeah, but that's him saying something weird, but he's talking, whatever. I mean, also, they're not understanding that because they speak Japanese. They're hearing everything through an interpreter.
No, they're not. No, they're not. I wrote that down. Why is Lori Loughlin so low? There's no way that these 9 gentlemen can hear her. She's whispering to them. When she's translating John Travolta's madness, she's just whispering. And by the way, I'm pretty sure Lori Loughlin was not speaking Japanese.
Oh, I'm pretty sure she wasn't.
The whole movie was Wakata.
And then it gives you the opportunity for Travolta to give his incredible line, oh, I love hearing you speak Japanese. She goes, you speak Japanese? And he goes, nah, you just look so good doing it.
Oh, God,
yeah.
Smooth and bland.
But again, would you give these men your business considering all the madness that has been going on? Like at the golf club. Like,
oh my God.
He runs up in your face and then knocks heads with you, hits his hits your like son in the balls with the golf club. Like this, all the weird driving erratically with the golf cart and running over things. Like, there's so much crap that's happening in this film. What you want to be like? Yeah. I don't know about those American guys.
You're right. You're right, because even Kelly Preston at one point, mind you, she's about to go to jail. She has no options to watch these kids because the babysitter's in the hospital now. She literally asked Robin Williams, "Do you know anyone else?" She says, "Do you know anyone else?" She's like, "Is there another option besides you?" That's how incompetent he comes off. I mean, she met him when he had blackface on. She knows that he's out of his goddamn mind. He's not doing well. He's living in a group home. He's just there's so many red flags.
Hold
with
on,
Dad.
hold on. And when he was in blackface, or let's call it brownface, because he gets approached by the Indian gentleman who starts talking to him, and he's like, "Oh, I don't speak." And then a Mexican
Spanish,
person,
yeah.
like, I'm like, what is happening right now? Like the late 2000s were a wild time in America.
Yeah, it was the peak of like just like ignorant, just jokes flying and stuff like that. This movie did get some Razzies. At the 30th Golden Raspberry Awards, the Old Dogs is nominated in 4 categories: Worst Picture, Worst Actor for John Travolta, Worst Supporting Actress for Kelly Preston, and Worst Director for Walt Becker, but lost in all categories.
I'm surprised.
What could have been worse than this? I gotta know.
2009, I'm not sure, but I can look that up. But
Okay, so another question. They Robin Williams met Vicky in Florida when he was, no, was it Vegas? Where did they meet? No,
I think
Miami.
Yeah.
Miami, yeah.
It was Miami. Okay, was she? Because it never really said that she was on vacation as well. Because at the end, he goes to see them in Vermont. I don't know. That kind of just threw me off. I thought that they were in Florida this entire time because these very much give me Florida education. But they go to Vermont to see the kids, and they're at the Burlington Zoo. Like what? And also, did he plan the birthday at the zoo? Because if not, where did Vicky get the money to rent out a zoo for the day?
There's a lot of questions to the point where it felt like Vicky had malicious intent. Like there was a period where you're like, there could be an alternate script where Vicky's a con artist and like abducted children or something. Like, because she seems so crazy and unhinged. And like, it's like if Jenny came to meet up with Forrest and like legit was like, I'm gonna take you for all you're worth. That's how it kind of felt. But then
after finding out about the whole Bubba Gump shrimp companies, it was
yeah,
like, oh, I can get in on that.
It felt like that. But real quick to circle back to the Raspberry Awards. So the Razzies, yeah, I should just say that because Worst Picture was won by Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen.
Wow.
Worst Actor that John Travolta lost to. He lost it to Jonas Brothers for Jonas Brothers, the 3D concert experience, which is nuts because they just played themselves. That's so offensive. Kelly Preston lost to Sienna Miller for G.I. Joe: The Rise of Cobra. God damn. That was
rough year for Hasbro.
That was really bad. Wow, Sandra Bullock won 2 Razzies that year. And then worst director was for Michael Bay for Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen.
I mean, I'm no fan of Transformers. I'm not convinced it's worse than this. I haven't rewatched. Okay,
Revenge of the Fallen, because Revenge of the Fallen, remember, has the racist robots.
Geez.
With the gold teeth, they were like, we can't read.
That's fair.
Where you got Optimus, our friend of the show, this great comedian Christian Lambert. He has a bit about how Optimus Prime, speaks like very Shakespearean, like, we shall rise. And then you got these coonish robots that are like, oh, I can't read, and you're just like, there's so much.
I'm just here for chicken. Why are robots saying that?
Is that a line?
No, but it might as well have been.
Why would the robots want to eat chicken? That don't make no sense. So despite our issues with this movie did make money. On a budget of $35 million, it actually grossed $96.8 million. So it did make back its budget and more.
Yeah.
Thankfully, we never got a sequel. I mean, unfortunately, Bernie Mac passed away, and then John Travolta and Kelly Preston's son, Jet Travolta, passed not long after this, and then of course, Robin Williams eventually passed away as well. So, this man, maybe this is a cursed production. I don't know.
Yeah, that's real rough. And just, I know we're running out of time, but I just got to go back to what you were saying about the zoo birthday party. Can we also talk about, so Robin Williams is going back. He flew back from Japan. He's realized that the family that he's known about for 2 weeks is more important than his career, and he wants to save the party, and he can't get in, but he finds out that they have hired a superhero impersonator type fellow who flies around in his own jetpack and flies into the party. And so, Robin commandeers the jetpack and flies himself into there. We just talk about Vicky is way too accepting of the situation way too quickly. She just looks up in the sky. She thinks the sky she paints there. She immediately sees it's her very, I don't even know how to describe their relationship. The guy that she married for 24 hours 7 years ago that has been watching her twins for 2 weeks immediately sees that he's in there, goes, oh, great, it's him. Doesn't at all question where's the guy I hired, doesn't question, like, it's just insane how fast she accepts this cartoonist situation. I was already upset about this movie, and it just gave me one last thing to be mad about.
Vicky and Dan lose these children at some point. they lose custody at some point. They have to go through parent training.
Whether those kids are in the system.
They're not doing well. But by the time they become teenagers, and depending on where they go to school, it's going to be a rough time. I'm just saying. I know it's cruel, but they're not in a good place.
It's for the best that we didn't get a sequel. Anything that we could have seen that could have happened next would have been real rough. That other kid being raised by Travolta, who's, simultaneously a man-child and elderly, nothing good was going to come of a single situation that was presented in this movie.
And can we also be honest? Okay, this is Kelly Preston. For me, it started with Jerry Maguire. I was in love with Kelly Preston, right? And in this movie, she still looks great, right? And she seems to be a free spirit. So her getting with Robin Williams, who clearly has relationship issues and probably trust issues, things like that. Can we just be honest that Kelly Preston's probably going to be like, hey, I want to get some strange, I don't know if you can keep up with me and stuff like that. And I just feel like there's a dark turn. There is a Lifetime sequel that could have worked with Old Dogs, where just everyone ends up in a bad situation. But
you mean the sequel where he finds out those aren't his children?
I'm surprised he accepted that so easily.
Yeah, because
he was hammered. They were so drunk that night, right? You don't know if he actually slept with her.
I don't have a dime to my name. I'd be asking for a paternity test immediately. I'm just saying. I'm about to close a $50 million deal.
True.
Some woman shows up at my doorstep and like, hey, look at these 2 kids. They're yours. That's
fair.
That's just a little bit too, I don't know.
This entire movie could have prevented with one common sense person being in the room. If anyone had the rational knowledge that you have, we wouldn't have gotten a film here.
Yep. Oh, one more line that did make me laugh was when John Travolta tried to bribe D. Ray Davis to let them in, and he's like, "How about 3 big ones for you?" And he's like, "Don't you ever have me $3 again?" That was funny.
Yeah,
that was really funny. But the laughs are very far in between, folks. Justin, break down our rate system, baby.
Stop calling me baby. So, guys, we sat down and we watched Old Dog.
On Disney Plus.
A film on Disney Plus is the only place you could probably find this film. But the way we rate movies, we rate them scale of popcorns. Small, medium, large, and the XL for the exceptional. If a film doesn't deserve any hot, fresh popcorn, we throw it into the stale popcorn pile. We pile piles and piles of stale popcorn on top of it. So, Christian, you watch Old Dogs with us.
Sadly, yes.
John Travolta, Kelly Preston, Seth Green.
Why was Seth Green in this?
Bernie Mac, Kevin Dillon, Justin Long.
Matt Dillon, Kevin Dillon.
Matt Dillon. I'm sorry. Same thing.
How dare you?
Dak Shepard. What say you, sir?
I want to be able to give this movie some popcorn. I would have loved to come on Medium Popcorn Podcast and give a medium popcorn to a movie. This doesn't deserve that. This doesn't deserve the small. If it's me, I'm throwing this in that stale pile all day long.
There you go. There you go. Brandon?
Yeah, this goes in the stale popcorn too. And it's only an hour and a half, and it feels like 5 hours. It wouldn't stop. It was like being on a really bad roller coaster, and it just would not let up, and it got crazier as it went on. And for me, as someone who worked in education, I'm like, oh, these kids are being taken away. There's bigger issues at hand than just getting high at a golf course for these parents. I did not connect with anything in this film. I chuckled a few times. I will admit I did chuckle a few times, but I think that's more just they fell into those jokes and those laughs versus actually being purposely executed well. There's no saving grace here. I'm sorry. Justin, what's your rating?
Yeah, this film is like one of those irredeemable films that you watch and you're just like, why did I do this to myself? And so not only is this a stale popcorn film, but this is like the stale burnt kernels at the bottom of the bag. Like this is crazy, especially considering that we have Robin Williams and John Travolta in this
Yeah.
film. You expect more and you were let down on so many, and the fact is that again, this is Bernie Mac's final performance on film. Like this hurt me when he showed up in this film because I had no idea. I was just like, no, Bernie, no, please, no.
And then when you found out his name was Jimmy Lunchbox,
Yes.
just like,
Why?
who?
Why?
That makes me, yeah, that makes you sad because like he had the script where the name was Jimmy Lunchbox and he signed on for it. Like either he was in such a position where he had to sign on for it, or he just wanted to work with Robin Williams and John Travolta so much that he did it. But either way, not
I'm
great.
choosing to believe, because I want to continue liking Bernie Mac, that the script just said Jimmy, that he didn't know about the lunchbox part until it was too late.
It was too late. It's like, hey, why my trailer say Jimmy Lunchbox? Like, that's your full name. Oh, no. I can't. My
First of
Bernie,
all,
my
who
Bernie
is
back.
that?
This is supposed to be
Who is
Bernie
that?
back, but
That's a horrendous Bernie.
I've tried.
Bernie Mac is literally doing backflips and somersaults in this right now. Wow.
Before Christian, we let you go. I did want to share IMDb review that our producer Lluvia found that actually has a different take on the film. And this one's from Lisa Rich Brandon, who wrote, "Critics should get an F, not the movie. The movie was good.
Oh, no.
This movie was not only funny, but heartwarming. Yes, there are a few cliches in the film, but what movie doesn't have some cliches? Many films with more predictable endings have been given A ratings. I think the critics are just looking for Oscar material, not a good family movie with laughs and a heartwarming ending. They'd rather see death, gore, and violence. John Travolta and Robin Williams are great together, and John's daughter is cute and funny too. I especially like the ending, but I won't spoil it for you. This movie is just a great family-oriented movie that my entire family enjoyed. The critics are definitely wrong rating this movie. I would give it an A. 9 out of 10 stars.
Are you being held hostage? Blink twice if you need help. You're in John Travolta's basement right now.
Are you Kelly Preston's sister who wrote this review?
Also, just the amount of times she said family oriented in there,
Yes.
when it's truly about these guys that are just trying to like keep sleeping with young women without responsibility as late into middle age as is humanly possible.
They literally could make a Wedding Crashers sequel. Like if they never got married at the end of the movie, this could have been a Wedding Crashers sequel where these just two dudes are like, "Oh, I have a kid now." Like, it's just insane that they try to like reshape this as a kids movie.
Yeah.
Like
Old Dogs is the dark underbelly of the Wedding Crashers lifestyle.
but oh man alive. Christian, thank you so much for joining us and helping us break down this madness that is Old Dogs. Please tell our listeners how they can follow you and keep up with the work that you're doing at Indiewire.
Well, hey, yeah, thanks so much for having me. It's been a blast. You can read my writing on Indiewire.com 5 days a week. Follow me on Instagram. I'm at Christian Blake Zilko. And on Twitter, I'm at Tangled Up in News.
All right. Thank you so much. And Justin, how can people follow you, baby?
Stop calling me baby, Brandon. Guys, you can follow me at J Brown Did It on all the socials. Brandon.
And y'all know you can follow me at Frodo_Blackens on Instagram and Threads. You can follow the show at Medium P Podcast on all social media platforms. Be sure to go to patreon.com/Medium Popcorn and support the show. We have $2, $5, $10, $15 tiers. All of it helps the show. But if money's a little tight, just leave us a 5-star review in your favorite podcast application. We will read it on the show. And if you feel extra froggy, you want to communicate with us, leave us a voice message at speakpipe.com/medium popcorn. We'll play the voicemail on the show, respond to it, whether it's good or bad. We just want to hear from you. We want to know how you're feeling. And especially if you've gotten to watch Old Dogs on Disney Plus, let us know your thoughts. Let us know your thoughts. It's surprising it wasn't in the Hulu section because this shouldn't be in Disney Plus. This shouldn't be readily available for kids. No. I don't know what, if I were a kid and stumbled upon this, I would have a lot of questions.
Every actor in this film should have done like Bernie Mac's camp did and buried this and made it like he was never in this. Just saying.
Yes, yeah, I agree. Christian, thank you again for coming through. And folks, we will talk to y'all next week. Peace.
Peace.